Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm going to deck profile my top 4 local Madolche deck list I've been using with the Ishizu and Vernuslyph support that's come out recently. This deck is really good, but you get punished for not knowing your opponent's matchups or just making misplays because you have to play this deck quite well in order to get the maximum value out of it. But the fact that it can compete very well within this meta is great because the interactions with the Ishizu and Vernuslyph cards make this deck a whole lot better than what it used to be. So jumping into the list, I am playing the 3 Angelis. This is the main Madolche monster now that you really want to see. I think Petting Sister is a lot worse now thanks to the Ishizu cards and getting milled and stuff, and it's not a problem having monsters in the grave anymore since we have the Vernuslyph cards that can just use our graveyard as a secondary resource, which is kind of crazy. And then 2 Hoot Cakes. I did consider playing 3 for a while, but I feel like 2 is more than enough. Angeli is a little more important than Hoot Cake, and then you can always shuffle them back if you need to. The standard double message gelatos, you need 2 for the combo. 3 is just bricky. I've cut Petting Sister down to 2. I hardly use her hand effect. It's always like summoned off of something like Hoot Cake or one of the Vernuslyph monsters. And then the one Pudding Sis, I saw or heard that people were trying out too. I actually might want to consider this in the future just because it makes some awkward mills or hands less awkward, even though it's an extra brick. And then for the spells, the 1 Chateau, 1 Salon, 1 Ticket. Ticket's very hit or miss for me. There's weird fringe situations where it comes up, like in the main deck, but there's the side deck combo with the Butler Rusk that you can make use of, which is the primary reason why I still keep it in the deck. I may or may not cut it later. Then the 2 Promenades, you're targeting Omni Negate. Card's amazing. Just make sure if you Salon to trigger and place your Promenade, because I definitely forgot to do that. It is a mandatory effect. I ended up losing that game also because of that, missing the effect. Then we have Triple Ducks. This card is just absolutely cracked for the deck, since it lets you summon any earth monster and searches any earth fairy. So when I say earth monster, it doesn't have to be the same type. So you can actually summon cards like Fenrir, which is absolutely amazing. Like you special Fenrir, maybe they just shotgun a pop, and then you just use one of your Vernuslyphs to summon back the Fenrir, and you're just back where you were, and they wasted a pop. Then I played 2 of the Flourishing Hills. I might play 3. We'll see how it goes in the future. I tend to side one out a lot anyway, but it's still really nice to have the extra insurance to get to your duck, and then just have the standard like reborn kind of effect that these cards have. Then for the Ishizu engine, triple Mudora, triple Keldo, and 1 Kelbeck. I was playing 2, but I decided after another tournament to drop it to 1, and it's been performing well. The card also got sodded out a lot, and I rarely would use its effect to mill since you're expecting to play into mirrors of Ishizu cards, and you don't really want them to get more value. But I've actually used the effect, like against Sprite, to get a Fenrir to graveyard that I was able to then Vernuslyph out, which was great. And then lastly, the 1 Gravekeeper's Trap. This card is absolutely incredible. It just gets you any of your Earth Fairies. So typically you want to Mudora, like that is the goal if you resolving Mudora turn 1. So you have access to this trap on your turn, your opponent's turn, and then like your following turn, because you can either search Angeli on your turn, you can search one of these if you don't have the full combo to get both, and then like on your opponent's turn you can pitch this to search Kelbeck to have an interruption of some sort. And don't forget Kelbeck does activate in a new chain when your opponent triggers the top effect. And then the fact that you get to get deck knowledge with this card is really cool, and you can snipe cards if you're lucky. And then you can also just search follow-up for the next turn, or you could just search one of these on your opponent's turn, then your turn you discard it to search like your Angeli or your duck or something. It's just so cool, the amount of plays you can get with this trap. And then I play for going second cards and kind of sort of going first. Fenrir card's just insane. Like this card has helped me win so many games just because of his ability to banish cards on you and your opponent's turn depending on the situation. Then I main triple Lava Golem. I was kind of inspired by seeing the triple Sphere mode, but like I just don't like Sphere mode because relying on your opponent to make 3 monsters is so much worse. Triple Imperm, very good card overall. Nice to hit those Kitkaluses and stuff. Then triple Tactic Talents. It's great because you can use it on both turns. Like if you're playing the Ishizu matchup, you can use this on your turn without them hand trapping you. And then if they do hand trap you, then you can also, you know, draw cards or something to look for more follow-up plays. Then the added bonus is like if they make a Root Kalos on your turn, then you just tactics it. Then you can safely use your Hootcakes and Angelis. And then you could also potentially, if you're not locked or missing monsters on board, you can also just make like the Earth Charmer to link off their Root Kalos also, so they don't get it back. And then 3 Prosperities. Card is great just to dig for combo pieces or board breakers. And then the one called by to stop any hand traps or graveyard effects that could be a pain in your neck. Going into our extra deck now, I play 1 Sistart. I don't ever feel the need to play 2 because even if I play 2, I just get Prosperity or something away. Then I play 3 Teachers, my favorite Madolche card. She does get you that like shuffle back effect, which can either, if with Chateau, add back like hand traps or lava golems or follow up, or just your opponent's like Ishizu or tier limit cards, or you know, any graveyard important cards that could come up. Then 2 Alamodes. She's there for the combo. Typically you only need 1, but like the second one is kind of nice insurance, or you just Pot of Prosperity it away. Double Queen, same thing of you could just play 1, but if you want to be safe, you can play the 2 copies since you get to shuffle it back a lot. And if not, yeah, I find myself prosperitying the second copy quite often. For other stuff, I play the 1 Lingeribo. It is there for the Ibli lock, but I don't think anyone at my locals is playing Ibli lock, so I might just swap it for a more useful card like Unicorn or something. Then the 1 Alsa, so you can kind of mess with your opponent's graveyard. You can force them to use like the shuffle back effects or something, or if they already used that specific copy of one of the Ishizu shuffle back cards, you can just take their other one of that and then you can use it against them, which is really cool. And then it does have the added bonus of being a spellcaster, so there might be a line where you Butleresque into Link 2 into this, so you have something that a normal summon Sharon cannot get over. 1 Underworld Goddess. This card surprisingly came up. It helped me out of Baguska, so I could just kill my opponent during that same turn. Dweller, because this deck can make Dweller and it shuts down the meta. Then Baguska, if you have a really awkward hand and you just need to make Baguska pass, or if you get interrupted enough and this is the best you can do, it's an option. Then we have Cowboy for time, but also don't forget it has a effect in attack mode. It's relevant for like breaking monsters with 3,000 or less if you want to crash into it or just run it over, because it effectively becomes 3,000 in its own roundabout way. And then the Zeus, because we're playing Exceeds and it comes up where I've just like made a Baguska, let myself get more resources, and then turned it into attack mode, made a Zeus and passed, stuff like that. Or just Cowboy also is also a thing where you attack mode, attack over something, make the Zeus, or if your Madolche's last an extra turn and you're not Madolche locked, there's also that option. So there's a lot of ways to make Zeus. If not, you can always just Prosperity it away. Side deck's a little work in progress because there's just so many good cards to run in this format, but I'm going triple shifter. This deck can play under shifter, so it's not too bad. You just side out your cards that get affected by your own shifter, and you can actually use it multiple times in a game since, you know, you're playing the Ishizu stuff, so you can shuffle back your graveyard, where Hootkick becomes kind of the MVP of playing the game under shifter. Then for back row breaking and stuff, we have Duster, double Lightning Storm. I play 2 Cosmics. We're definitely afraid of like mine, and it kind of helps in like the Flunder matchup. And then triple Evenlies for more back row or board breaking. Then I play Mind Control and Change of Heart for those instances where Lava Golem won't just cut it, and you can also do things like I've Stolen in the Exo matchup. You just take their singular Exceed, poke them with it, make a Zeus. Kind of funny. at least with Change of Heart. Mind Control not so much, but it will at least get rid of the current problem on the board so your monsters don't end up getting banished. Because it's really hard to deal with banishes. Like, pops are fine, but banishes are a lot harder to work with. And then, as I mentioned, the Butleresque and the Secret Village might play the Necro Valley because it also is good against the tier, but it kind of hurts your own engine, so it's kind of risky in that sense. But you can definitely just cheese wins if you can make your board and get that Necro Valley out. So that's pretty cool, and that's the entire deck profile. I will do a quick test hand thing in this replay of EDO Pro that I have just to show you what the deck can do. It's really neat, and I will catch you guys in the next video whenever that happens. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of explain what's going on here. So we start off with the Fen research just to get some deck fitting, and in case of weird things like Havness, you might have interrupt that you can do. Then we're gonna duck here. Duck is gonna pitch Lava Golem to search our Keldo, so we can guarantee this in the graveyard, and then we'll have our Mudora have a target to use his effect. Then we get our Gravekeeper's Trap, pitching our Lava Golem to search Angeli. We can do our normal standard Madolche line here. So we summon Hoot off of the Angeli so we can have a battle protected Hoot Cake. Then we banish our Lava Golem, do the standard Pudding Sis play here. We do not need to use the glass since we already have an Angeli, and our Hoot Cake did not have to banish a Madolche monster, which typically happened in the old combo lines. Then we can use our effect to get our Gelatos out, to get our field spell first, so we can trigger it again. This also keeps a Glass Souffle in circulation as well, we don't have to banish it. And we search Salon here so we can also use its effect on our opponent's turn. The extra normal summon doesn't matter here in this particular instance. Then we just make our Glass Souffle, and we use her effect here since we do still have the Pudding Sis with the material of Pudding Sis as well, so we can resolve her one more time. So we just target herself, and then we get to use her effect. We send back a Gelato to our deck so we can trigger our Salon, and then we choose to add back either the Lava Golem or the Duck. I chose Lava Golem since you could theoretically get a Duck on your following turn with the Gravekeeper's Trap, or even on your opponent's turn if you choose to. So I added the Lava Golem to hand, and then we set that with, or we trigger Salon with chain 1, chain 2, we activate the Ala mode, we summon our Pudding Cessor just to have a material on board so we can keep the Hoot Cake, and then we set our Promenade, and then we link 2 into our Sistart like a standard normal combo, but we end with Fenrir, the Mudora that can trigger on field, so even if they had a way to shuffle back your graveyard like the Keldo, you'll have an on-field banish as well. Then yeah, we have our battle protected Hoot Cake, 1 material Glass Souffle, then our face-up Madolches are protected, the spell traps, and the Gravekeeper's Trap to either search Kelbeck or follow up or something on my opponent's turn, and then proceeding on to their turn. Don't forget to use the Gravekeeper's Trap. I declare Super Poly because it breaks their board pretty easily and gives us card knowledge, and it is mandatory, so don't forget to use this card. And that is basically what the deck can do here. If we trigger our Promenade, we can use this to get our Salon effect off, and then Salon will get us another one of these for the next turn.